Unity is burning up in flames. The recent addition of runtime fees have turned game developers against Unity. I've been making games with Unity for a while now, and by no understatement, I really enjoy the game engine. I enjoy just how well thought out and versatile it is, but things aren't looking great. The addition of runtime fees have forced game developers to abandon Unity altogether. With Unity crumbling down as we speak, it's time to look for an alternative. It's time for me to try my hands at Godot. Since I'm completely new to Godot, what better way to learn the engine than by remaking a simple game, which is of course Flappy Bird. Now there are way too many Flappy Bird clones out there, so I had to change things up a bit. The game I'm making is called Flappy Penguin. What? No, it's definitely my own idea. I began by opening up Unity, Godot, and as expected, I had no idea what was going on. However, I quickly found a tutorial and began using both of my brain cells trying to comprehend what was going on. After copying some code into this so-called GD script and adding the penguin I drew, the player should be able to jump. I clicked the run button and nothing worked. 15 minutes of head scratching later, I finally have a penguin jumping on the left side of the screen. To make the penguin jump, all I had to do was add some velocity in the y direction, which took surprisingly long for me to figure out. If you ask me why is the camera so off-centered, I have no idea. Anyways, I fixed that and drew some spikes to represent the icebergs the penguin has to dodge. Instead of moving the player and camera to the right, I moved the spikes to the left instead. However, I kinda screwed up and made the player too big when combining the spikes and player into one scene. Whoops! Each spike is a prefab or node, and I spawned a new one when one goes off screen. I then gave each spike a randomized Y offset to make them more unpredictable. Perfect. I love how Godot made different components of the game so organized, but you probably don't care, so yeah. Another feature of Godot I wanted to test was its particle system. Unity is famous for theirs, maybe too famous. So let's see how Godot holds up. Finding tutorials for good particles was a challenge, but to my surprise, I easily added particles for when the player jumps, which is just a bunch of white squares coming out of the player's feet. Moving on, I made it so the scene reloads if the player touches the spikes. For the score counter, I added a collider in between the spikes. I then updated the score if the player passes through. Lastly, I tested Godot's post-processing system and created this. Overall, I believe Godot has the same if not better capabilities in 2D compared to Unity, but for 3D, I would have you find out. Right now, the game has no buttons, menus, or sounds, and it's really basic. However, this acted as a great entry point to Godot for me, and who knows, maybe one day I'll make it into a full game. A full, crappy mobile game. Also, make sure to join my Discord if you haven't already. Hit like if you like, hit like if you dislike, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.